which makes this match more just kind of like a fun little appetizer.
Or into the week.
Exactly. They get more serious, but right now it's like there's barely any consequence there can be. But if you can keep Spoit focused on one player, I mean, you got to be worried you don't die, but it can be quite important. He spotted a couple. Warden and Thor now spotted. Dokkaebi Call goes out too, but Surf is still the first to fall. Spoit next up, as it's actually Rorik with the SMG-12 who dispatches Snake from the round. Canadian continuing to lose HP.
As some of the Razor Blooms go off now as well, as Dan is continuing to hold on to this angle. He's going to have a bit of a chance onto Rexen. It's going to be Pasha to take Ambi down. Great kill there onto Rexen, as predicted. He's going to...
A lot of NA teams generally love those fire bolts, love those smoke bolts. Can isolate off angles or force players out of position into the guns of, I was going to say Spoit, or in this case Ambi as well, who falls down early on that Deimos. A lot of important players for the Rebellion falling very early on in these executes. Rexen taking a massive chunk of damage as Spoit lurking on the opposite side. Will catch Skies around later than that fight initially seemed like it would occur. Let's go around. He's successful, but Canadian still dies in the process. Off the shield and still out of the round. Spoit next up. Rexen too. I mean, the site might have changed and the operators might be different, but rounds one...
A little bit of a bigger ask than it should be, isn't it?
And also, when you think about the kind of crazy clutches or crazy 1v4s that you and I have casted in the past day, it's when teams have maybe like conga line a little bit into the attacker's crosshairs. Does that sound like VirtusPro?
Not with what we're seeing at the moment.
No, Rorik's instead going to hold the quarter close with a shotgun and finish that round off with one... It seems like that's the case. Rorik can look through this, but I think Canadians just slipped under. You'll send a C4 over top. I don't think it does any damage whatsoever. Canadian makes it through, might fall after the fact, but the Rebellion are not positioned too poorly for a 3v5, now 3v4 post-plant. Spoit with that verticality and the Soliton scanner can ping the locations of these players going for the retake. He's got Rexen and Surf for support as well, and most importantly, it's VirtusPro who have to make the move, and VirtusPro who aren't quite certain where these players are. Spoit gun in hand rather than the scanner, exchanging shots with Rorik will neutralize the ward and finish him off. Massive performance. Still the only player for the Rebellion with kills so far. That changes once Surf takes down both Dan and Naquo. Now with Pasha, only 1 HP. That's a 3K for Surf overall, and the Rebellion fight back.
At the time that the Nitro Cell was just after it was ripped and after it was thrown, it perfectly...
Surf now in possession of it. Spoit instead going with Aurora, using some of that utility. Will have a gun up for the remainder. Canadian using that door to push in, isolate the Warden on the main stairs. Gershmont be damned. Pins Rorik in the corner, takes him down. That is the first opening pick, breaking the way of Shopify Rebellion. They're already able to recover from a 4v5, make that a 3v5 last time. Now they're pushing for more. Skies has been inside a museum every single round, it's felt like, and now they finally have a successful pinch. Surf almost gets naded by his own team, and while he's traded out by Dan, he still secures the kill on one of these exterior players for Virtus.pro. Dan out with this long angle, nails Rex into a post. Things getting even. Dan going big with this M14, but Canadian isn't daunted whatsoever. Diffuser down successfully. Him and Anvi have time to pick up Spoit, make this a 2v3. Pasha creating a rotate, will maybe try to cover some of that sound. Nails Ambi as well. With Spoit on low HP, you can see a way through for Pasha. The shield is always going to be difficult, especially without a C4. But wrapping around the hallway, Spoit ready for the angle, and Pasha's not ready for it either. All tied up as the Rebellion are back in.
Instead, they've dug themselves back in. They're bringing different tools, more architectability in the castle, the clash as well. It isn't going to help them in that opening engagement, though, as Rorik is still the first player to fall. And, well, Naquo, he's going to have a very tough time of things here on the clash. Just about everyone fall wide, but somehow gets away with one. I thought he was going to get a second there, but he chunks Canadian down to just less than half. Ambi falling in this initial melee as well, leaving it an equal 3 versus 3, and almost a very similar hit point advantage as well.
Yeah, almost exactly equal on the HP, though Pasha might have a great line on a Canadian. But misses that initial shot, and so as the last bit of Canadian's Bs go out, in terms of utility as well, this will be generally pretty even. Look at Skies' Gershmont, though. Understanding that the Rebellion like to play this plant, you have to think that that bit of utility might have been saved. Canadian now pushing deeper. He'll throw it, and unfortunately not able to stop any plant, not able to stun anybody in general. Dan sprinting outside, but Spoit playing so patient. Cuts him with the DMR. Skies just domes Rexen from across the site. And Rebellion still fighting, still facing a little bit of resistance from this remaining Virtus.pro player. But with Spoit and Canadian lower than Skies on this HP, and with how many bullets, how much that fire rate of the Scorpion is, Rebellion might fall if they aren't careful. Spart on Overwatch with the DMR. Just spots him for a second, tags him up a little bit more. Sky's still playing this game of cat and mouse as Canadian has slipped his way through, made it into the site, slips around the corner, could surely find the next one, but no! Pistol and the headshot. Spoit with extra credit on that kill as the Rebellion take the lead. Shield on a staircase can always be a bit of a tricky situation. We'll see if Shopify Rebellion are able to handle it, as Sky is now providing Rorik some support. Unlike last time where the Warden was by himself, this time not only does he have a player covering the window, but he's able to win the fight against the Blackbeard as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but that just favors Virtus.pro. A shield for an Ella who's already placed most of her utility is excellent. Surf making his way inside of the site, but spotted by Dan. That was an easy kill. The Twitch was on such low HP, and now Dan looking for more, but punished for it. The Rebellion keeping things as close as possible, as this has been...
Try and grab it, but look at the line of defense that we've just had set up there by VP. Skies, Naku, and Pasha all trying to get themselves in a line here. Spoit is going to be the first player to break it, though.
And breaking it with 11-2 right now for the KD. Massive showing from Spoit. Looking to maybe find 2 more. Skies and Pasha, the only vestiges of this defense. Ooh, nails him, though. Have to try again on the defensive side. Spoit out of this round. Pasha finding Ambi too. Rexen now has to clutch up big. Only 11 shots in that ARX. Direct intel on 1, but with the Denari right around the corner. Sure. That, of course, Dark, we just heard from Virtus.pro. Long time, but also Dark, who's kind of made a name for himself, is really kind of like, I think, on the side for VP. Neko hunting deep, but if you've got 2 defenders catching his attention, I was about to say, I don't think Ambi's been spotted. Pieces up 2 with 1 clip of the Scorpion. And just
Should be able to find these winning positions. Caught out on the Bs now. Both Rexen and Surf are just going to have to wait for that to dissipate, but Surf isn't going to wait too long. You take Pasha down next.
Away through this reinforcement, even cutting off a sliver of it with a little exothermic trick on an adjacent wall. Who does dome Surf on the longest angle out of all these potential engagements. Ambi's been here literally for the past minute, it feels like. Just waiting for somebody to walk out of the tower. Same can be said for Spoit around the corner. Will finally swing Rorik and take him down, and the Rebellion just waiting for these remaining couple Virtus.pro players to walk into their trap. No advantage whatsoever for Shopify Rebellion or Virtus.pro. Dan creeping down below. We saw Ambi down here earlier, and I think is still somewhere moving about that first floor. Just got to be careful. The flank on the attack might be countered by the defense as Pasha the first to fall. Quick trade by Virtus.pro, but time is beginning to run out. 35 seconds remaining. They've made it towards the site, but the Rebellion all basically holding hands around this bomb site, keeping each other within their line of sight, trying to trade off their positions. Nade will force the Bandit back, but Surf just holding. Waiting is going to kill Virtus.pro more than bullets ever could. Just waiting, holding these angles, though. Rexen walks right into the AK-12. Naquo good for another 2. So Surf and Ambi have to make this 2v4 happen with only 10 seconds remaining. Creeping up the stairs. Dan's ready for it, but Ambi wins the fight. Catches the planter. 2! But oh no, the shield flips back around. Looks, though, very close. Seems like that flank from Ambi might have worked, especially as he tracks Surf instead of the Fenrir. The Pasha still ready for it, and Ambi can't get that impact. Ironic, though, Surf is the one that takes down the first pick. Make that the second as well. Gunning for the third as Naquo contemplates an ADS, commits to it. Surf is stuck in this corner. Might be able to, like, Kiba himself for protection, but I do not think this Azami is getting out. The defense might just coordinate, wrap around this position as Ambi, his hunt for Pasha, finally successful. His prey taken down by the MP7. As attackers looking to pinch this player who's been stuck, who's been a thorn in their side for so long, but Surf whips around the corner. Hip fires 1, can't make it 4. Skies has him locked down, but the Rebellion continue their lead. It's a tit-for-tat game, but
SR winning 3 in a row. It's been very back and forth from that point onwards.
As I believe that's Rexen moving a bit further up, taking a bit of presence inside a museum around the corner. An off angle that Rorik will spot at the last second. Sure opens things up onto Pasha. And VP's initial attempt at an entry completely falters. One player dying with heavily important utility, another taking a substantial amount of damage, and this Monty continuing 4 rounds in a row to have basically no impact.
It's not having the desired effect right now, is it? Rexen can be tucked up on top of the box. Rorik will take Surf down. This is where you've still got the Monty. You can still get that impact out of it. You just need Naku to be able to push in and cause enough distraction. I don't really want to see him hitting that ADS, though. No,
not at this close proximity with 2 defenders right across the way. Canadian swings out. Naquo, I think, finds himself too far from the rest of the team. Ends up being directly in the center of the defense. Now the Monty and the Grim both down. Acquiring this late round utility is going to be difficult. Rorik praying he lands that pre-fire. It's briefly... No, it is fully a VP man advantage. Skies and Dan both finding 1, but Spoit... Compassion ends up killing Dan, trying to save Rorik, downed in the process on the cross. Skies has time. Can pick him back up. Back to a 2v1, but the Spoit with such a long line. And an Uzi that packs a punch, chambered with some damaging ammunition. Now around the corner, Sky's on Overwatch. Spoit just slips by, might be able to pre-fire that angle, spots him at the last second, and slips around the corner. Escaping any punishment met out by VirtusPro.
The target...
Continue using those Kibas. Really enables this full rotation and close quarters play. Spoit just isn't making wrong moves on Fortress right now.
Position secured.
He is mad as hell coming into phase 2. I think he might just be the player to shoot that Monty through the shield. Doesn't care how the game works, doesn't care how the mechanics go. Spoit is making his own luck at the moment. As the rest of the Shopify Rebellion, unfortunately, can't quite find a whole lot of it. He's eventually felled as the Rebellion as a whole, aside from that brief kill on Dan, has been struggling against Virtus.pro, who have been cornering them inside of their own bomb site.
A very good take there from VP. I like it. They just went in the round from Infirmary, or Med, as some of the players like to call it. I don't know that he's going to be given the same chance again there.
Ooh.
Spoit tries to take the challenge onto Pasha, but the Blackbeard, it's one of the dangerous things about it. You can't...
VP push. The rest of the defense can kind of help out. We got a TCSG, but oh, just a quick swing around the corner. Deimos down in the process. We're towards Canadian, who's playing a bit further up with that shotgun. Oh, they're literally next to each other. Canadian is in for a world of hurt as somebody swings around the corner. Sky's 5th. Can push things a little bit further in their favor, but as Rorik uses a couple, doesn't spot much of anything. Rebellion even have information on the Grim. Moving up the hallway. 3K for Ambi at the moment. Surf gets one more. How about 18 kills, Skies, with 10 seconds to go? No, it'll be Ambi just getting even at the end of the game, and the Rebellion warmed up after a lengthy phase 1 win their first bout in the Swiss.
Big performance there from SI.